I don't know how you arrived here today, but maybe your heart feels tired, heavy, and full of questions that still have no answers. Perhaps you have tried to stay strong all the time, to smile when no one was watching, to keep moving forward even with a wounded soul. There are days when everything feels too silent, when prayers seem unable to rise beyond the ceiling and hope feels far away. And it is precisely in those moments, when strength runs out and the voice begins to fail, that something starts to move in the unseen. Because when everything looks the same on the outside, God is already working on the inside. And today there is a truth that needs to reach your heart. A single visit from God's presence is able to transform what once seemed impossible to change. His presence does not depend on place, time, or circumstance. When God decides to reveal himself, the atmosphere shifts, the soul breathes again, and the story begins to be rewritten. There was a day when everything around me seemed frozen, as if time had stopped and life had lost its meaning. Doors would not open, answers would not come, and hope felt smaller with every passing moment. I tried to fight alone, I tried to find solutions with my own strength, but nothing seemed enough to remove the weight that was upon me. Then, in the middle of the silence, I made a simple prayer, without beautiful words, just a sincere cry from the depths of my soul. And in that very instant, something invisible began to happen. There was no noise, no visible sign, but a peace started to fill my heart as if an unseen hand had touched my life. God's presence arrived quietly yet powerfully, and in that moment I realized it was not the end of my story. It was the beginning of a new season. When God's presence arrives, the atmosphere changes, even if the circumstances still look the same. The heart finds rest, the mind finds direction, and the soul finds hope. What once felt heavy begins to feel lighter, and what once seemed impossible begins to become possible. God's presence does not only comfort, it transforms. It heals wounds that no one sees, strengthens those who are tired, and lifts those who thought they had no strength left to continue. That is why many times in the middle of pain, God does not first change the situation, he first changes the heart. Because when the heart is restored, faith is reborn, and when faith is reborn, miracles begin to happen. God's presence is not just a feeling. It is a living power that enters a person's life and completely changes the direction of their story. Maybe you are living through a season where everything feels difficult, where the news is not good and dreams seem far away. Perhaps there is a silent fear inside you, a worry that no one knows about, a battle that only you understand the size of. But there is a promise that never fails. When God makes himself present, nothing remains the same. Doors that were closed begin to open, paths that seemed blocked begin to appear, and hope begins to breathe again within the heart. God's presence is able to enter the desert and make life grow again. It is able to enter the night and bring forth a new sunrise. No matter the size of the problem, no matter how long the waiting has been, when God's presence arrives, transformation begins from the inside out. Today, something may already be changing in your life, even if you cannot see it yet. God is drawing near. God is listening to every prayer, every tear, and every silent request that has come from your heart. His presence is touching environments, restoring strength, and preparing a new season for you. Perhaps you have not noticed it yet, but the miracle always begins in the unseen before it appears in the visible. And from the moment God decides to act, no one can stop what he has determined. God's presence changes stories, changes destinies, and changes hearts. And if you remain steadfast, trusting, and seeking his presence, you will witness something extraordinary happen. Because when God's presence arrives, everything changes, and what once seemed lost begins to live again.